Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show, 35 minutes after the hour, and I don't know, if I wanted to give S.E. Cupp a hard time, I might actually suggest that she probably wasn't as bothered by the NBC gaffe this weekend of leaving out Under God in the U.S. Open presentation on NBC television this weekend. Were you, S.E.?
Lars, you're so wrong. Of course I was bothered. I wrote a book defending Christianity.
I just wanted to
I know
see.
It's anathema for an atheist to do that, but yeah, of course I was bothered. I thought it was terrible.
Well, but I mean, you probably see this as irrelevant. You're an atheist. You defend Christianity.
It's not irrelevant.
No, not irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant.
See, I knew I'd get under her skin. You get under her skin, and she just goes.
You do that really well. No, the reason I wrote Losing Our Religion is because the media constantly attacks the values of 80% of the country on a regular basis. They do it in our newspapers, our magazines. They do it in journalism and not just opinion. They do it on television, and gaffes like the one you saw on NBC is unfortunately all too common. And of course it bothers me. It bothers me because it's irresponsible. It bothers me because it's hostile. And it bothers me because it's a distortion of historical fact. This country was founded on Judeo-Christian values. Whether I agree or not, that's a fact.
You're such a wallflower. You tend to sit back on the bench unless I get you going. So, listen, I should say that S.E. Cupp, S.E. is a wonderful guest. She is the author of Losing Our Religion, The Liberal Media's Attack on Christianity. And I wanted to have you on to talk about the Troopathon. Tell people what this Troopathon is all about and how they can get involved and how we've been involved.
I'm really excited. It's the fourth year running. It's a live telecast, 9 hours. It's like a telethon. It's online at Troopathon.org on June 23rd. And basically it's raising money to send care packages to troops, which of course is an incredibly important cause. And everyone from Andrew Breitbart to Sean Hannity to Michelle Bachmann, lots of great people are helping out. They're doing either live appearances or Skype appearances or pre-recorded videos, and we have a lot of fun with it. You know, I'm going out to the Nixon Library where it's being held, and I'm going to host the whole day, interviewing people and try and raise money. It's a great cause, and really just proud to be a part of it. But people don't have to just tune in that day. They can donate for these care packages anytime. Just go to Troopathon.org, and you don't have to wait. Just go online and do it.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that, where it was going to be. Are you going to be is that in San Clemente, or is that in, what was the town he grew up in down there south of Los Angeles?
It's in Yorba Linda.
Oh, in Yorba Linda. Okay. I wasn't quite sure. I knew.
Yeah, it's at the Nixon Library, which is a pretty special place, and near Fullerton, California.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really fun event. I'm super excited.
Very good. Hey, let me ask you though. The NBC seemed to have acknowledged late today, after we already got on the air, that there were actually employees at the network who made a conscious decision to do this. This wasn't some slip of the editor's thumb as he was editing video and audio. That they actually, and it was more than one person apparently. So they apparently talked about it. And I'm trying to imagine the mindset of somebody who says, "Hey, let's cut this God stuff out." You know, because I would think that the first thing somebody would say as a logical objection would be, you know, a lot of people are going to notice, a lot of people are going to yell, and our bosses are going to come down here and yell at us. But apparently that either didn't occur to them or that was the reaction they wanted. Yeah,
and I think you hit the nail on the head. First of all, I'm not at all surprised. I've been in tons of newsrooms. I've worked at magazines and newspapers and television networks, and I'm not surprised. Sometimes these are top-down decisions where you actually have editorial meetings and you make these kinds of calls, and it's shocking to the rest of the country, but in these circles, it's sort of par for the course. So I don't think too many people even bat an eye. But I think that your suspicion that this was an attempt to get attention is probably right. I think that they thought, this is something we can consciously do, sort of make a statement and then get a response. I mean, NBC isn't doing that great. So I'm not surprised at all that they would use these kind of guerrilla tactics and tick off, 80% of the population in the process.
Boy, I'll tell you, that seems like an awfully I mean, I understand the whole media business is, look at me, look at me. I mean, there's an awful lot of that goes on, both individually and among networks and all. But it's hard for me to imagine, doing sort of like, what would the network version of Munchausen's by proxy? I'm going to stick myself with a knife and then say, hey, look, everybody, I'm bleeding. I mean, it just seems really destructive to do that when you understand you're probably going to anger most of your audience.
It's a terrible business model. And when you look at places like MSNBC, the New York Times, Newsweek, I mean, these are places that are bleeding money. But journalism is a really funny, weird, sort of navel-gazing kind of business where, people still think that the cause is more important than business, and looking at business decisions is seen as very crass. And I guess that's okay. I mean, individual journalists maybe don't need to look at high-impact business decisions, but you would hope that the people, on the business side would, and they just don't. It's really bizarre. They're constantly sort of cannibalizing themselves.
But you know what's strange about it is that Christians seem as though they are some of the last people. I'm Christian and I'm fat, so I'm in the last two groups, and I'm a white guy, so I'm in the last three groups that you can go after without having any. But can you imagine if an editor had walked in and as they were editing the golf coverage, and he said, see all those shots with black people in them. Cut those out because Tiger's off the course. Just show the shots that show white people. The editor would probably say, "What are you, crazy?" Or if you were editing a news story and you say, "I'm seeing too many people that look Arabic," or "I'm seeing too many people that look Jewish," or "I'm seeing too many people who look ethnic." So make sure this, or vice versa. And I certainly see plenty of commercials where they seem to have been shot with the, okay, let's figure out how we get the rainbow in. Let's make sure we have somebody who looks gay, somebody who's black, somebody who's this, somebody who's that, as though they're trying to, tick off every category. And it's, I don't know, for me as a reader or listener, it's offensive. Why don't you just let life occur and take a picture instead of trying to design it?
It really is. It's such a pander, and it's so transparent. But you're absolutely right. I would say Christians and Southerners are the only two acceptable demographics that you can make fun of now without any fear of retribution. And the kind of kid gloves that, say, for example, Islam is treated with. I remember when the Major Nadal Hassan shootout happened. I was going on TV that night to talk about it, and producer at one of the liberal networks came in to the green room and sort of coached everyone to say, now look, we don't know exactly what happened. Let's not jump to conclusions. This was insanity. We knew exactly what happened. A guy named Major Nadal Hassan ran into the Army Training Center, shouted Allahu Akbar, and shot people up. I mean, we didn't need to pussyfoot around that. But you see this all the time. After the Times Square bombing, Mayor Bloomberg did a press conference, and he said, this could have just been a guy who was upset about health care. Yeah. I mean, it's asinine. It's completely asinine. But there are these untouchable subjects that we all have to sort of tiptoe around. Unfortunately, Christianity just isn't one of them. No one tiptoes.
No, nobody at all. She is the author of Losing Our Religion, The Liberal Media's Attack on Christianity, S.E. Cupp. And by the way, S.E., we have a new assistant producer. And he came in and he says, now, I don't know if you've talked to this lady before, but you say her name, S.E. And I said, okay, I'll make sure I do that because we've talked before. But it was very nice. I said,
that's okay. That's nice.
No, it's and it's a great book, and it's great for you to be involved in the Troopathon. Thanks for what you do.
Thanks.
You betcha.
Well, thanks, and I hope everyone goes to Troopathon.org and donates a care package and tunes in on June 23rd.
Absolutely. S.E. Cupp with us. Back in just a moment.